You know, it is pretty rare for the Oilers and the Panthers to go to back-to-back Cup finals. I can't remember the last time that we've seen that, but it's got to be quite rare. And I am just always impressed with the Oilers. I'm always impressed with how they grind out wins. I'm impressed with their best players, standing up and doing what they have to do. And it's obviously really rare. Like, I'm a Leafs fan, so it's difficult for me to imagine that one of your star players that you pay a bunch of money to actually stepping up and dominating their matchups like they should be dominating their matchups. You pay a guy what you're paying McDavid, you expect him to score big goals. And actually, let's not forget that Connor McDavid actually said that exact same thing, that they are paid to score big goals. And he's right about that. They are paid to score big goals. It's the Edmonton Oilers. And man, I've just been impressed with almost everything. It's weird. Sometimes the Oilers are a strange team where it doesn't really look like a Picasso. They're almost like a microcosm of their goalie, Stuart Skinner, where he kind of looks weird sometimes in net. He's almost like a Mike Smith, if you understand what I mean. He almost is just like, what the hell is going on? But at the end of the day, he gets the job done. And even Calvin Pickard was fine enough, right? And I think Stuart Skinner right now actually has an above 900 save percent average, so he's looking pretty good going into the playoffs. Now, the Florida Panthers are a nasty and very dirty team, very, very dirty. I am going to be watching this playoff series incredibly closely, looking for how they are probably going to chicken wing the goalie. Now, the one thing that's really, really good for them, though, is that they have two good quality goalies. They've already proven that they can win with Calvin Pickard. They can win with Calvin Pickard. You don't need to worry about that. They can win with Stuart Skinner. I've said for a long time that goaltending is random, and you can win with a 1B type goalie, if you understand what I mean. It's not impossible to win with a 1B type goalie. We've seen it happen even with Hill in Vegas. I would say he's like a 1B. I don't think he's like a superstar goalie by any means, but you just need a team that can play in front of him, and you need your best players to step up when it matters. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm not worried a little bit about the Oilers. Their depth has actually been quite fine in the playoffs. I mean, to be honest, you probably can't get to the Stanley Cup Finals without your depth being good, so that goes without saying. But there is one player that I am quite worried about when it comes to the Edmonton Oilers. That is Trent Frederic. He's got 4 points in 16 games. He has not lived up to the standards that I thought he was going to be. I thought he was going to be a bit more of an impact player. The article that we're going to be reading off, Frederic struggling to make an impact. The Oilers took a risk when acquiring Trent Frederic from the Boston Bruins at the trade deadline, as the 27-year-old was on the injured reserve with a high ankle sprain. Such injuries can be difficult to come back from, though the Oilers brass clearly believed he would be ready before the playoffs. And they did give up picks and prospects. They didn't just give up absolutely nothing for Trent Frederic. Let's not forget that. I will concede the point, though, that high ankle sprains are really, really difficult. And it is kind of weird that, like, they didn't give him more time, but there's not much you can do about it right now. Frederic was able to make his Oilers debut in April before re-aggravating the same injury, which kept him sidelined for the remainder of the regular season. He's been able to get healthy enough to be in the Oilers lineup for all but one playoff game, but hasn't come close to being as impactful as fans had hoped. That is true. It's weird, though. As I read this, it's very true about the high ankle sprain. Like, I'm telling you, that is an incredible, especially for a hockey player, because you have to skate around. I remember that Sportsnet was doing a bit of a video package on Trent Frederic, and they were zooming in the camera on him and really watching him skate around, and you could tell that he was really, really, really struggling. And I really just hope that he can be an impact. My take is this: if you have a player like Trent Frederic in the lineup and he's not providing you what you need, you have to replace him with somebody else, okay? I'm not saying he's a superstar player by any means, but he has to provide something, and if he is not providing you that, it's better to have a slightly worser player that is at 100% than Trent Frederic at 70%. right? Do you understand what I mean? That's where I'm at with this situation with Frederic. The article continues. Long breaks should help Frederic. The one bonus that the Oilers and Panthers have been heading into the Cup final is that they have a long break before things get underway. Game 1 is set to begin on Wednesday, meaning the Panthers will have had exactly 1 week off, while the Oilers have enjoyed a well-deserved 6-day break. That is very, very, very true. Now, I'm not really sure if an extra 6 days is going to completely cure what ails a high ankle sprain. When it comes to the development staff, they're probably just managing it, so that's really the best that you can do in this situation, is just manage the injury that he has. My take for this series is very simple. If their depth steps up, okay, because there are times where Connor McDavid's going to get shut down by Barkov. Barkov is really good. You know, Anton Lundell might get some matchups as well with Connor McDavid. I think Connor McDavid should cook Lundell, but I'm a little bit worried about the Barkov matchup. Barkov is good. He is no joke. So this is the thing that's worrying me. The Oilers absolutely need their depth to be A++++. They need their depth to be A+, and they need their goalie to be above water. He doesn't have to be perfect. I think that the Oilers can get to Bobrovsky, okay? He doesn't have to be perfect, but he needs to be at the very least above water. So that's really it. I don't think this... Here's the thing. Sometimes in the Stanley Cup Finals, it's the players that you least expect that become heroes. That doesn't mean that those players are superstars, but it doesn't take a superstar to step up in a big game. It never does. Like, you can step up in a big game, and that's really it. I remember the players that were essentially nobody even knows, they're not household names at all, were essentially heroes. Anyways, I am going for the Oilers 100%. I'm going to end the video here. If you can make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, I would greatly appreciate that, guys. And make sure to have a great day. Goodbye, guys.